Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Deborah Peters Show. We are running 2 minutes behind because I'm having an 80s hair day. So thank you for your patience. Oh my God. I'll share a little, we'll discuss that, right, Michelle?
Yes.
So this show is all about consciousness. And I know I say this at the beginning of every show. And after a while, it kind of starts to get old to me. So I hope it's not getting old for you too. But I want to language it a little bit differently today. So what is consciousness? Let's start there. Consciousness is when we can become self-aware of who we are being. We essentially have three minds. We have a conscious mind, we have a subconscious mind. I call it an unconscious mind because I don't think it's sub anything, but that's my lingo. And then we have a superconscious mind, which is our connection to God. So when we are unconscious, we're unaware of what's driving us, that little still small voice inside of us that is pushing us to do stupid things or pushing us to do great things. When we become conscious, we not only are aware of that voice, but we are in command of ourselves utilizing that voice. And that enables us to turn around anything in our lives. And I say this all the time, you create your own reality. There are no victims. And unfortunately, I'm a minority in saying that because society is not stacked that way. Society is stacked to convince you that you're put upon, that there's something outside of you that's in charge of your experiences, and that you basically have to suffer along and eke out a living and just basically accept whatever comes your way because you're either a bad person and a sinner or somehow you're lucky. And all of this stuff is just so mystical. You'll never get a handle on it and you'll never get ahead of it. So I just like to unpack it and say, this is a show about consciousness, bringing you to an awareness that you've never been at before, living your life on the leading edge of thought. Quite literally, when you think a thought, it does become a thing because words have energy and they turn into physical experiences. We don't call it spelling for nothing when we write something out. So I like to address different areas of our lives, and I've picked 5 that really I feel address pretty much everything for you. If you can think of something else, let me know. But essentially it's health, wealth, business, relationships, especially the one that you have with yourself, and of course your self-expression. So I have a wonderful guest today, and we were just chatting before we jumped online here about being in the South, which is where I am these days, and the humidity. I feel like I'm in a rainforest because it like rains every day, and it's like crazy. It's crazy good. Life is good. LG, baby. So ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Burke, thank you for joining me today. It's so cool for us to finally get to do this.
Yes, thank you for having me, Deborah.
It's been a minute since we...
Yes, it has.
I know. And since then you've moved?
Yes.
That's crazy. So you came and left Savannah before I could get to Savannah, or we could have had coffee.
Yes, this time last year I was in North Carolina. But yes, last year I lived in Savannah for part of the year. It called me and I listened to that call. But just the way the housing market, rental market was, it
wasn't a fit for you.
It wasn't a fit for me, but that doesn't mean that, I won't end up back there.
Exactly. And I get you about the call. I mean, for me, it was the same. I had just like this moment with myself. I was on a hiking trail that I'm supposed to head to the south. And I think it was like 2 weeks later and I was packed up and gone. And that's pretty typical of me,
Yeah.
I don't mess around. It's like when I know something in my heart, it's a done deal. And then it's just a matter of, hey, let's get after it.
Yeah.
But enough about me and my wild gypsy adventures across the planet. Tell me a little bit about what you're working on these days.
My book just launched in July.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm, right now just working on, promoting my book, getting it into the hands of more readers, getting great feedback on it. I have,
What's the name of it?
My book is Hot Mess Magic, Discover the Magic in Your Mess.
That's a good segue into our topic today.
Yes.
But before we go there, so do you have any advice for me? Because I have 2 half-finished books. Well, I have 1 3/4 finished book and 1 half-finished book.
Get out of your head.
I know it's about sitting down and writing. Here's my, and maybe, for any of the authors out there, first-time authors, it's like, I have so much in my head. Like there's so much information flowing through. I can't really type fast enough to get it all out. I can work through that. The challenge is sitting down and doing it, because it's like I'm on my computer, I think like all of us are, a lot of hours in a day. And so the last thing I want to do is sit down and write in the evening. I just don't want to stare at another screen, So
I have an app recommendation for you, which was a game changer for me, because I was kind of the same way. I was spending a lot of time in my head. So I would, leave, I would go to the beach, or
I go to the park.
Yeah, or go to the park, like go take a walk, connect with nature. And then I would get like all this divine, inspiration. And it's like, crap, I'm not in front of the computer screen.
Right.
The app Otter.
OTTER?
Yep. Does voice memo. And it transcribes it for you.
Oh my God. I love it. Because I get so much, like I have, I don't even have to tell you. I just have tons of notes, and I have a lot of moving parts to this, because the downloads are endless and they're immense. And some of the stuff is like mind blowing to me. I know that sounds so egotistical, but it's not, because it's not me, it's like, I'm just a channel for this to come through, but it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So I know your book is for women pretty much, right? Yeah. But I know a lot of guys that are a hot mess too. So
we're all, the first sentence in the book says, we're all a hot mess.
And I think there's a lot of like magic in that, because in the chaos, there's always a calm.
Exactly.
And it's, I have in my lifetime probably been a master controller, like master control freak, like controlling every aspect of my life. I like to make lists. I like to write it down. I feel like I'm in control of that. My relationships, I'm always in control of those. Over control to the point where I've had to really teach myself, which became some great coaching tools. As a coach, like if you're a half-assed coach that's decent, you will have experienced everything you help people with, right? So I have come to that place where I've healed my over control. It's not that it's gone. I just can I can handle it now.
Yeah, you've learned how to work with it instead of work against it.
Yeah, because it has value.
Yes.
It has a lot of value. But when, and I'll tell you, the feedback for me on this is my body. So when I'm over controlling, I notice things in my body change, whether I feel achy or craving negative foods, sugary stuff.
Yeah.
Want to scroll through social media. Sometimes I gain weight when I'm over controlling, because that's the protection, right?
Yes.
Control is compensating for not feeling safe.
Yes, control is a trauma response.
Yes, well said. I know. I'm getting over my trauma.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. So what's the deal with the book? I mean, what do you want women to get from this book?
What I want them to get from the book is, nobody's perfect. Like, we look at social media and we have to remember that it's the highlight reel.
Yeah.
We have to remember that 9 times out of 10, that selfie has a filter on it.
Right.
So everyone has struggles. Everyone is going through something, right? And we all also have a money story.
Big time.
So whether someone has $5 sitting in their bank account right now or $5 billion sitting in their bank account, like, they all have a relationship with money. They all have a money story. They all have some sort of trauma surrounding money.
Yeah.
Like, we all. Like, so this is where we have to remember nobody's perfect. Well, everybody puts their pants on, one leg at a time in the morning. Everyone poops. Like, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, and so the notion of perfection. So I'd like to unpack this kind of stuff, because this comes from somewhere, right? And it just, like, the notion of perfection didn't come out of nowhere. I mean, it's evolved with our propaganda over the decades, clearly. I think Barbie was a major contributor.
Yes, Barbie's a major. Yes, Barbie. If we look at, and we look at just different different magazines and models, throughout the years, like, we're shown this certain body image.
Yeah. So the idea of perfection, I think, in my experience, comes from trauma, because when you're traumatized, or you experience trauma as a child, or shock, or both, then the idea is to go for the opposite, right? We typically go into fight or flight. That's a normal response mechanism. So if we go into fight, then we want to take on and take out the thing that caused the trauma. And that could last a lifetime, where anytime that trauma button is pushed through an experience with someone or something, our response is to take that thing or person out. Then the flight would be just, the opposite, like, I got to get away. But they're really one and the same, because when you're taking someone out, you're still wanting to get away. So what's the flip side of that? When you flip over the coin, the other side is, well, if things are controlled and perfect, then this trauma button can't get pushed, right? So really what you're saying is that in all of us, there's been something where we have felt some sense of lack of control, which could feel traumatizing.
Yeah.
And the way to make up for that is to pursue being perfect.
Yes, and we put on this. I also feel, as women, that we're taught, when we put on this facade that everything's okay. It's like, the house is in foreclosure. They've just repossessed the car, but no, everything's okay. I don't know how I'm going to buy groceries this week, but everything's okay. Everything's under control. It's like, no,
well,
everything's not under control.
Yeah, and so I'm going to kind of play with that for a minute, because you're right, and I can agree. The thing is that, how do I say this? So even if the sky's falling, things really are okay.
Yes, they are. Yes.
So it's like being able to look at it and go, wow, the shit's hitting the fan. There needs to be a shift, a change here, right?
Yes.
And then on the other side of it going, you know what? Everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the end of the planet. So
Yeah.
that's a fine line in the sand. Like, how do you know, particularly if you've experienced trauma in your life and you're like wound up like a Christmas tree, you know, how do you, or lit up like a Christmas tree, how do you differentiate between, okay, shit's hitting the fan, I really need to make a change or do something here, and you know, I always land on my feet, everything's going to be okay. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's going inward and connecting with yourself.
Yeah.
It's
a God moment, right?
Yeah, it's a God moment. It's a creator moment, and connecting inward and going, yeah, the sky might seem like it's falling, but everything's gonna be okay. Like, I've got everything under control, and I don't have the guilt and the shame around the fact that everything's falling apart.
Yeah, that's key, isn't it? The emotion, you know. So I always like to analyze it this way. Let's say you have a lot of momentum in your life and things are going south, and there's a lot of momentum headed south, where it's just like one thing after another, you know, it's just like, can I get a break? That kind of attitude.
Yes.
And so for me, when I've been in those moments, it seemed like the more I fought what was happening, the worse it became.
Yes.
Because, you know, what we do then is we just pour a lot of attention onto what's not working. We put a lot of emphasis on what's falling apart. And you can never glue the pieces of, you know, back together fast enough, because there's so much momentum. It's like a fast moving river. So I find the best thing to do in situations like that is to just surrender and go, you know, there's a whole lot of momentum here. I can't fight it. But maybe what I could do is I could focus on what I would like to experience instead. Because then it takes all the focus off of the weight of that pull south.
Yes.
And you actually shift your focus towards what it is you'd like to experience in your life instead. And actually, sometimes that whole breaking down clears out a lot of clutter, right?
Yes. Tears are a release. Like, there should be no shame in crying. Like, let the tears out. If you need to yell or scream, like, let it out. Don't keep it bottled up inside. Like, we're programmed and conditioned, especially as women, to like not get angry, and to not get angry, not show the rage, not it's like, no, we're gonna get angry. Like, let the anger out, because if we don't, it becomes repressed inside of us.
Especially in the corporate world, you know, I've had the blessing of being able to coach a lot of women, executive women in large corporations, big law firms, whatnot. And obviously, you know, all of my, well, not obviously, I think I talk about this a lot, but 100% of my clients are male CEOs of small to mid-sized companies. And that's just it's just a flow of energy thing. You know, they just come to me. There's a trust. I coach different than a guy would, you know. I can kick their butts, but at the same time do it with tough love instead of making them feel like an idiot, right?
Yes.
And but with women, the thing is, and I've sat on boards where I've been called names because I was aggressive, I guess. I guess they think I was aggressive. And I just take it as a compliment. It's like, well, thank you.
Yeah, I take it as a compliment too. It's like, thank you.
Yeah, you got my message. You can't mess with me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for confirming that what I put out there you picked up on today.
Yeah, it's like,
Right.
all right, if you think I'm being a capital B right now, so be it.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's like,
It's my
okay,
badge
thank
of
you.
honor. Yeah.
Like, thank you. Oh, and my next caveat for you is, well, let's take a look at why this triggered you.
Yeah. A lot of programming. I just had this conversation this morning in the gym with one of my trainers, and we were talking about he's a military guy. He was a captain. He's got a lot under his belt in terms of understanding all of that as they brought women into the military for combat.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying, well, what I see as being really a defining difference is that girls are raised to ask.
Yes.
Boys are raised to do. So a girl will ask permission and a guy will just go do it. And if there's an issue with it, he'll just take his lumps and ask for forgiveness after.
Yeah. So there's a section in the book where I write about, give yourself permission.
Yeah. You have to. Because I can tell you this much, that in my career trajectory, I stepped into this business as a professional speaker when there were maybe one or two women that were professional speakers and the rest were all men. And I was going for the A spot on the stage. I wasn't going for the backup speaker or the opening speaker. I was going for the keynote slot.
Yeah.
And, that's where I felt I belonged, which I think is the turning point for all of this. I felt I belonged there because I had something to give, to be of service with, right? And accompanying that's where the money is. So I figure if I'm gonna study and polish and perfect my message and my skill set, I deserve to have the big money. And there's a big thing for a lot of women is they never ask for what they're really worth.
Absolutely.
What is that?
I think part of it goes, part of it's just programming.
Yeah.
It's programming. It's not knowing your worth. Not knowing your worth, not realizing your worth. Realizing that you are worthy of everything you desire and then some.
Isn't that huge, right?
Because what you feel you deserve, you don't. What you deserve is up here.
Well, I always have looked at that concept, and I felt like there was maybe something more to it. And I think the more to that is you get what you are.
Okay.
Right? So deservability, I think, we come into this earth all equal.
Yes.
No matter what we look like and where we're born or who birthed us, none of that matters. We all come in equal.
Yes.
And then we have, 0 to 7 are the imprint years. And that's when our psychology is formed, structured, and designed by our environment, how our parents behave with each other, how our community functions or doesn't, who's in front of us as authority figures, whether that's babysitters, nannies, teachers, preachers, like anybody that we look up to that seems to have more answers or knowledge than we do. That forms our psychology. And that imprint then is how we continue to move through our lives. So we all deserve to be wealthy. We all deserve to be healthy. We all deserve to be happy. We're born, that's our God-given birthright. Yet we forget that because it gets programmed out of us by well-meaning, loving, usually, adults. And so then we only in life can get mirrored back to us what we are. So if we are low self-esteem, if we are whatever we are, and it takes some real internal commitment as a child to rise above whatever's happening in that household that is holding us back psychologically.
Yeah, and to as the child to say to yourself, like, no, like, I'm going to listen to what my intuition's telling me.
Yeah,
I'm going to follow what my internal compass is telling me, what I know is true to my soul, not what everyone else is telling me. And that's like, if a child can do that, like, that's huge.
That is enormous. And I used to take, I wouldn't say beatings for that physically, but I took some psychological beatings for that. Like,
yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, like most of it was emotional abandonment. Like it was the love was withheld, the attention was withheld, it just was like, not going to give you any attention at the time of day. And as children, we need that so badly.
Yes. And especially as the child gets older, like an 8-year-old still needs the love and attention. The 10-year-old still needs the love and attention. The 15-year-old still needs the love and attention. They're still
the
a child.
The 40-year-old.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't matter how old we are. We still need the love, the attention, the support of our parents. That support changes as we get older, but we still need that support.
Right. And, one of the exercises I do with my clients is I teach them how to parent themselves.
Yes.
Because it's a bit of an epidemic. Like most people that I come across have been under nurtured, nurturing from mom and dad, and the love, the warm, fuzzy feeling that your home is safe and loving and supportive, that you always have this place to come no matter what you do wrong in the world kind of thing. And most people have very little of that in their background. Some people don't have any of that in their background. And really the best thing you can do for yourself as early as possible is, to learn to be your own parent, to mother yourself, to father yourself. Like I have this exercise where I have them, depending on, which parental emotional bonding they're missing, I'll have them go through exercises where they'll take themselves out and do an activity that they would have liked their father or their mother to do with them, and to do it as if they're their own parent in that process.
Okay.
And so like they do is they basically, like, let's say they wanted to go play catch, it's like, well, go find a ball machine somewhere, and take your little kid that's inside of you out to play catch. And it sounds kind of trite for some people, they laugh at me, but once I get, especially these guys, like, I know your book is for women, but I could just tell you, like, there's so many men that are just didn't get what they needed either.
I've had a few men read my book and have given me positive feedback as to how they did get something out of it.
For sure, because it's about being a human being.
Yes, we all have issues.
That's so funny. The issues are in the tissues.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the healing is in the tears.
And healing is in the tears. That's a good one. So for women, what do you think about? And I'm kind of segueing back. I'm digressing for a second, but you said something earlier. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it made me think of this comment. What do you think about the glass ceiling concept for women?
I don't think there is a glass ceiling.
Oh, thank you.
Like, I don't.
Everybody, this is not staged. We did
Like,
not
I
discuss
don't think.
this.
Like, I don't think there is a glass ceiling. We all come into this world the same way. We all have unlimited growth and potential available to us. So yeah, we can keep growing, expanding, and like we hit this one level, it's like, nope, that's not your glass ceiling. It might seem like the glass ceiling, but all right, let's shatter through it and let's go to that next level.
Right. So do you think then that it's a program? The glass ceiling is a program?
I think glass ceiling is a program, and I think it all goes back to as we look at where women started out, within the when they entered the workforce. So many women entered the workforce as teachers, as nurses. There's only so far in teaching you can go. Former teacher here, well aware.
Well, I want to share something with you because I had that experience, and because I used to think, and I had a lot of evidence that there was a system that put men over and beyond women. And I was in banking when I first came out of college. I was in banking for 2 different banks. And there was, I was a teller, and we would see these young guys come in that they'd come through the door into the management training program. And I was training them. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, there's something wrong with this. Yeah. I want to be in the management training program. And it wasn't allowed. It wasn't offered. And when I asked for it, I was like, you shouldn't be asking that, but I didn't stop asking. And it took me far enough, but not everybody's wired this way. I get it. And that's my thing. It's like, I want to help women realize this, if you want it, go get it.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, this is what I want. And maybe it wasn't that bank. Maybe it wasn't even the next bank. Maybe it wasn't even anyone employing me. It actually came down to me having my own company. I had at a fitness club, but then with that comes all the responsibility too, right? Yeah. Which I was fine with. But the most important thing was not to ask. Just if you want it, go get it.
Yeah, like you again, it goes back to asking for permission. It's like, okay, give yourself permission, now go after it.
And just because they don't give it to you doesn't mean it's not the right question.
Exactly. It's not the right time. It's not the right place. There's something bigger, better, grander in store for you. It's like, and that's the other thing we have to look at. It's like when someone says no, we always get so upset or disappointed. It's like, oh, okay, I guess that means something better is coming along.
Yeah, don't accept it. It's like, yeah. And also I think, when you ask and the feedback you get was, you're out of line, you're too big for your place here.
Who do you think you are?
I know the biggest thing I learned about that is that that's all of their insecurities.
Yep.
When someone tries to belittle you for reaching higher, it's because they're either jealous or insecure.
Yes.
And that took me a while to figure that one out because of my upbringing. I'd get a lot of that in my family, and I was I'm an empath, I would say. You know, I don't like to use that word
Yeah.
a lot, but I feel everything about people. And so I would take it on.
Yeah.
Do you think that's another?
I'm the same way. So I understand. I get it. And it's like, and for men, they feel so insecure. And I'm sure you felt this plenty of times. You know, they feel so insecure around a strong, confident woman who's not afraid to go after what she wants.
Yeah, I would say yes if they're unconscious.
Okay.
Because then they see the woman as a threat
Mm-hmm.
rather than seeing that woman as like, oh my God, I got a catch here. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like someone to run with instead of, you know, the opposite direction.
Yeah, and that's, to me, that's like being conscious. And I've dated a couple guys in my life that were very competitive with me and like jealous. And I'm like, okay, this relationship is just really toxic.
Yeah.
You know, that you can't fix that because each person has to go their separate ways and heal themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like that man, for example, his insecurities and low self-worth, and then me needing to heal something in myself that is insecure, that I think that I need to attract that out of someone, because we attract everything we're being, right?
Yes.
So
there's something there to learn.
Always, yeah, there's always growth there. But yeah, I think I love it that you said there's no glass ceiling. I did a program for NASDAQ, which is, you know, like the stock market.
Yep.
And it was for their women. I did the first one at their London office in the UK. And then I did one for them virtually for their entire global women in NASDAQ. And I'm actually running this as a keynote platform right now. I called it Women Are an Emerging Market. Because I
like that.
Women are really starting to figure out that anything that you perceive that is against you or holding you down is really just that. Mm-hmm. It's just a perception.
Yes.
And when you don't buy into the perception, you don't perpetuate it, then it doesn't have to be in your life.
Correct.
So I love this idea because one of the things I said to them is that the glass ceiling, and I mean, I know this totally goes against the popular narrative, and I probably piss some people off when I say this, but there is no glass ceiling. Yep. And there won't be one if you don't give it any energy. And then the argument I get back is, well, what about everybody else giving it energy? And my response is, you won't attract those people either.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, because you're going to attract to your field what's aligned and resonant to you. It's like when you're having that crappy day. It's like you seem to attract everyone else around you tends to be having that crappy day. It's like, oh, okay.
That's a sign to just go have a nap.
Yes. But just putting it something on like a little simpler term. It's like, like we attract what we're being.
Yeah. It's an incredible time. I feel like all of these systems are finally breaking down.
Yes.
And they're breaking down in mass. Because I've been talking about this stuff for a long time. And I remember when the whole glass ceiling narrative started to get rolled out corporately. There was a part of me that I could identify with it, you know, because when I first started in my speaking career and I was like one of the only women, it was tough, you know, it was tough because so many people had accepted that narrative that it's only, only men are doing this, or, women are lesser. I don't even know what the words were. It doesn't matter. But it's interesting because if I bought into it, I observed this. If I bought into it, then I attracted more people that were bought into it as well. And when I stopped asking permission and just started putting myself out there as the keynoter, and then the keynotes started coming, all that other stuff just kind of like,
it disappears because you're not energetically available for it.
And isn't that, therein lies the rub, right? When we can get that deep down in our spirit, then our lives change forever.
Yeah, it's like, I know I'm not energetically available for this. It's like, it doesn't show up. It's like, okay,
I'm out to lunch on that one energetically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm energetically out to lunch.
Yeah, it's like dead end. Dead end, not like, can't come any closer to me. Like, nope.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's awesome. So we have a lot of systems in the world.
Yes, we do.
That are male.
And a lot of those systems are thankfully starting to crumble, and we're seeing the rise of women across all areas, and we're going to continue to see that rise.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that as these systems crumble, what's going to crumble with it is the women that supported the systems too.
Yes. Because
it's not just, and yes, I feel, how do I say this without sounding too biblical, but I feel like there's some kind of an energy, a fog over our minds, an energy, some kind of like a rose-colored glasses that have been a fog or a veil. That's the word I'm looking for. A veil over our consciousness that has been there holding women from acknowledging their power.
Yes.
And it's been a pretty thick veil. It's thinning. It's there's holes in it now. You can see through it places, right? But when you have that kind of an energy that's really that thick and that anchored in over generations, decades, eons, then it takes some crumbling and some chipping away to get it to break down. Now, one of the things that always used to shock me was when I would see this going on, because it does exist. I'm not saying that there aren't people, men, that have held women back for under this sort of like veil of unconsciousness, if you will. I'm not making excuses for them either. We all have to be accountable to that within ourselves. Mm-hmm. But I also would get this shock when there were women propping it up too.
Yes, and that's the one I was just thinking about. That's the one that always gets me is, when you see women tearing other women down.
Right.
It's like, no, you're playing into exactly what the system wants you to play into. Like, no, we shouldn't be tearing each other down. Let's support each other. Let's empower each other. Let's raise each other up so that we can grow and rise together uniformly, so that we're now all on this next level.
Is that a primal thing? Like, does that come from the whole like caveman era of this is my woman, this is my man, and just protect?
I think so. Yes.
That's funny.
Yes, but we also let's look at it also in the perspective of like, work together as a pack. Like,
Right.
yes, you have the alpha of a pack, but that pack works together.
Yeah.
Each member of the pack has their own, job, their own role.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, let's work together. Let's work as a pack, to, bring down, that elk.
Right. Right. So it really just means personal growth work
Yeah.
and becoming more self-aware, conscious,
Mm-hmm.
um, increasing your self-esteem so you're not looking outside of yourself and blaming others for feeling bad about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, the inner work and and that energetic work as well. It's the other thing that we're becoming so much more aware of is, the energetic aspect of everything, where like everything is energy.
Everything is energy. Everything.
And energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
That's right. And it's infinite.
It's infinite. So money is energy. We are energy. A human being and money are the exact same energy.
That's right. And love.
And love, and hate. They're different frequencies of energy, but they're energy.
Yeah. Very, very true. And so for everybody watching, the best way to kind of get aware of this for yourself and get a handle on it is there's like an emotional scale,
Mm-hmm.
and hate would be the lowest, and then love would be the highest. And just start to ask yourself, where am I at on this emotional scale?
Yeah.
And bring yourself up and do the little things, go for a walk in the park, go pet your neighbor's cat, like animals. 100%.
Look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you.
Yes.
Point out all your, sexy features, as opposed to, oh, I've got a pimple forming here. Oh, I've got a gray hair here. No, point out your sexy qualities, not your flaws, because your flaws are sexy to someone else.
Right. And even if they're not, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. They're what make you you.
That's right. Totally, 100%. Yep. I think the message here is that you're just fine just the way you are. And
Mm-hmm.
every day in every way, you're getting better and better. And you just keep riding the wave with self-love.
Yeah, and shattering those glass ceilings, because there aren't any.
That's right.
Any glass ceiling has been self-imposed. And since it's been self-imposed, it's easy to shatter.
Yeah, so it's most importantly, like you just can't buy into the narrative.
Yeah.
Especially when it gets in and it looks for your weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's
Yeah.
like those kind of narratives are designed for people that feel put upon, slighted, weak, powerless. So that's my whole thing. It's like, well, let me just show you how to regain your power for yourself. And then you can see through the lies as they're rolled out.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes, men who have thought they could hold women back.
Yes.
For whatever reason they thought they needed to do that. That doesn't work either. That's also
No. Yeah, because we need to work together. It's how, it's a divine union. It's working together as one unit to create something magical.
Yeah.
You need masculine and feminine energy to create something.
And we already have that within us.
Yes.
Right? We have a masculine energy and a feminine energy. One is the receptive mode and the creative right brain, and the other is the action mode, the logical, let's get this done left brain. And so one exercise you can do, and then we should probably say goodbye because we're running over time. We could talk all day about this, I know.
Yes, we can.
One of the things you can do when you meditate is you can imagine you have these little golden bridges that connect your hemispheres of your brain, and just see the energy flowing back and forth like you're buttering a piece of bread, you know, the energy just flows back and forth. What that does is it starts to invite the neurons, neurotransmitters to connect together and work together. Because we live in a polarized world that is an us versus them lie. And that has trained the brain that I'm either creative or I'm in business. I'm either realistic or I have my head in the clouds. And none of that is true. None of that is true. So
there's a lot of gray.
Right?
There's a lot of gray in this world.
A lot of gray area. Oh my God, girl, I love you. This has been an amazing, amazing. Show us your book again. Hold it up for the camera.
There we go.
Hot Mess Magic by Michelle Burke. And where can they get it?
Amazon.
Amazon. You'll send me the link and I'll have Margie put it in the show notes.
Yes.
Okay. And then you had some kind of ebook or something.
Yes. So I have in the book at the end of each chapter, I give some tools. And journaling is a big thing within the toolbox of tools. So I created the Discover the Magic in Your Mess e-journal.
Nice.
So I'm giving everyone today, I'll send you the link for Margie as well, the link for that, and you can just download the e-journal.
Fantastic.
So that you can create your own journal. There is an actual physical journal that's being created as well. But today we're just giving away the e-journal.
Nice. Yeah, I'm a big fan of journaling. It's a daily process for me. So
yes,
I think
same
that's
here.
A wonderful tool. Well, I wish you all the best.
Thank you. You too.
I'm excited. Yeah, definitely want to see how your book does, and I'll definitely order one. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
We'll talk soon.
Yes.
All right. Take care.
You too.